Your Country 1039 KGRT, Post Malone and Luke Combs for you there.
Time now for your question of the day. Brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Markets of Las Cruces. Fresh produce, bread, meat, honey, food trucks, handmade art, music, and more. Every Saturday and Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., downtown Las Cruces.
That's right. Time for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. And I did mention earlier that our question of the day would have to deal with adulting, in specific, Adulting 101. Yeah, the New York Post says that Gen Zers, that would be ages 13 to 28, are enrolling in Adulting 101 classes. Yeah, they need to learn the basic life skills. Toronto Metropolitan University and the University of Waterloo are offering online classes and toolkits to cover topics like budgeting, healthy relationships. Students are realizing the importance of financial literacy as they transition into adulthood. And honestly, there's a lot that could be covered in Adulting 101. You know, there's some of the basics right there, you know. Laundry, maybe. Housekeeping. I know I could probably use a few more classes in doing dishes again myself. Just don't like doing those. I don't know. And also, you know, just a general adulting stuff. Now, it's interesting that universities are offering these classes and not the high schools, which is interesting. But I'm going to ask you this question right here. Do you know any adults that maybe need to take an Adulting 101 class? Now, I'm not asking you to call out any, you know, any of your kids or family members or anything else like that. Just a very simple question. Do you know anybody? Maybe a coworker, maybe a manager. I don't know. I'm just saying there's lots of people that I think need to take an Adulting 101 class. I'll be honest. I could probably use a course refresher myself. You know, like I said, I'm being honest with y'all. So go ahead and let me know your answers for our question of the day. Call them in, text them in at 575-523-KGRT. That's 575-523-5478. And of course, we are live on our social media pages too. If you want to leave a comment on our Facebook or YouTube pages, then go ahead and do that as well. And of course, you can leave your comments throughout the day. But I ask you this question for our question of the day. Do you know adults that need to take an Adulting 101 class, or at least maybe a refresher, right? Let me know your answers for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. All right, exclusively up on our social media pages right now. And let's be honest, there are some people that really could use some Adulting 101. There's some people that could use a lot of adulting help in general. Like I said, I could probably use a refresher course myself just to get the basics in. And I don't know, just because I've gotten older and I'm like, nah, you know, whatever. Land of Manana, I'll get that tomorrow. That's the kind of thing right there. So I need to make sure that procrastination doesn't kick in. So that I'm going to call myself out on that one. Yeah, I could probably use an Adulting 101 refresher. But do you know any adults that need to take an Adulting 101 class? They need introduction to becoming an adult, right? Getting all your bills paid on time, all the joys that adults have. I'm telling you, kids, right now, you know, enjoy it while you can, because it does get interesting later on. But do you know any adults that need to take an Adulting 101 class? Let me know your answers. 575-523-KGRT is the number. That's 575-523-5478. You can call those in or text those in. And of course, you can also leave your comments down below. I love looking at those as we go throughout the day. In the meantime, let's go ahead and see what's going on in and around the world. A squirrel recently interrupted a Major League Baseball game between the Detroit Tigers and the San Francisco Giants. The squirrel ran into the field and then into the Tigers' bullpen, eventually vanished and could not be found. So maybe once again in San Francisco, you know, I think that was it was in the Tigers bullpen. It might have been in Tiger. But, you know, basically when you're on the field, don't be surprised if the pitcher goes, squirrel, and, you know, that happens. Future iPhones could feature a 200 megapixel camera, allowing for more detail and quality than when zooming in. Some Android phones already have 200 megapixel sensors. That's a crazy amount of clarity right there. Sometimes you don't necessarily want that clarity. I'm just saying that. Let's see. Computer scientist Jack LaFond recently received a cease and desist letter because of his Waffle House closure map. The online map tracks closures of Waffle House locations across the country due to inclement weather. Jack created it because the chain is usually open 24 hours. Trust me. If you ever get a chance to watch The Fat Electrician, I think it's called The Fat Files, okay, on YouTube, and it's just making fun of his Fat Electrician name, but he actually goes through the creation and how Waffle House was created, and the fact that the government actually uses a Waffle House indicator to see how bad inclement weather is or how bad some of these natural disasters are, because trust me, they will do everything they can to remain open. And if a Waffle House is closed, that's some scary stuff. I also saw that Starbucks has announced 4 new limited edition Frappuccino flavors for the summer. They include Firework Frappuccino, Salted Caramel Mocha, Strawberry Matcha, and Brown Sugar. They will be available starting in July. The Firework Frappe will be available July 1st through July 7th only. So that's just like an Independence Day thing. And it would be a crime if they didn't, throw Pop Rocks in there, because then it would be fireworks, right? Who misses Pop Rocks? That's another good question, isn't it? And, well, I'm not even going to read that one because that one's just not right. Once again, we are looking for answers for our question of the day today. Out of the fact that I saw an article in New York Post that says Gen Zers, and that's ages 13 to 28, are enrolling in Adulting 101 classes. I did find it interesting that it was universities that are offering these classes, not necessarily high school. I think high schools should probably offer some Adulting 101 classes, which is basically just renaming some stuff that were in the past that you used to be able to take to learn how to do things. I honestly took a cooking class for a semester when I was in high school. I don't really use it that much anymore. Well, that's not true, because, getting on the grill is always a lot of fun for the summer. That is definitely fun. But, maybe we should have more high schoolers taking Adulting 101 classes to learn how to do things, fill out fill out employment applications, learning how to apply for jobs, and basically learning how to apply for jobs online, because that's basically what you do it these days. And, other things like that adults have to do. But what do you think? Do you know any people that could use some adulting classes? Got a text message says, no, at 65, if you don't know the basic life skills, I don't want to know you. I do know that if you have a young person in a dictionary, a roadmap, and an EV, and told them to drive to a specific place, I don't think they could make it. Yeah, that reminds me of a comedian that said that, if the next generation, Gen Zers, try and take over the world, it'd be pretty easy to take it back, because you just send all your battle plans through mail, standard snail mail, written in cursive, and nobody would be able to understand what you're talking about. There are the basics, and there's basics of life to survival, but, we're talking some of the other things in there that need to be taken care of. Like I said, every once in a while, we should also go through a refresher just to remind ourselves, I think. Once again, though, looking for your answers for our question of the day. Adulting 101. Do you know any adults that need to take an Adulting 101 class? Yeah. Go ahead and let me know your answers for our question of the day. Brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces.